Welcome to the Hawks Talk podcast. All things Blackburn Hawks.
In behind the defence, cuts around, scores! Blackburn Hawks win this game 8 goals to 5.
All the latest news, player interviews and much more.
Shoots, scores!
Hawks Talk.
Hello and welcome back to the 5th episode of the Hawks Talk podcast. It's myself, Graham Hamilton, here with you. I hope you're doing well and thank you for tuning in. Once again, we have a fantastic show lined up for you. On this episode, we're going to be celebrating the long-time Hawks player Aaron Davies reaching the achievement of becoming the Blackburn Hawks all-time point scorer, overtaking the legend Bobby Haig. We're going to be speaking to Aaron, Ollie Lomax and Tom Revesz very soon. But first, let's get into some recent action. The Hawks have played 5 games throughout November, 3 of those in the Morley Conference and 2 of those in the Midlands Cup. Starting off the month with an away defeat 10-2 to the Solihull Barons in the Cup. Then we had another away game, this time up in Billingham against the Stars. That one was in the Morley Conference and it resulted in a 6-2 loss. After that, we were at home against the Sheffield Scimitars in the final game of the Midlands Cup. They appear to be a bit of a bogey team for us this season, Sheffield, sadly losing that one 9-6. Then we had an exciting encounter at home in the Morley Conference to the Nottingham Lions, a game which had everything, plenty of goals, hits, fights, and an all-round good game of hockey, if you ask me. We came out of that one 6-5 winners, with the winner being scored in overtime by this episode's guest, Aaron Davies. And finally, rounding off the month with a trip down south, down the M6 to Solihull, losing that game sadly 12-5 to the Barons. So at this point of recording, we are currently sitting at 6th in the Morley Conference on 8 points, having played 8 games, won 4 of those. One of those was an overtime win, and we've lost 4. With the Midlands Cup rounding up for us, we finished 4th in the standings, and I'll put a link in the description to those league tables so you can take a look for yourself. Just a few things to mention before we get into the podcast. Our last home game before Christmas and New Year is this Sunday, the 5th of December. We are donating food to the local food bank in Blackburn, and we are asking you, our Blackburn Hawks community, to come together at that game and please donate some items of food. All items must be new and sealed, and the most wanted items are tinned fish, fruit and veg, and packets of cereal. It's all for a good cause, and I'm sure you will agree. Also, the 2nd edition of the Hawks Mag is out now. It's the official fan magazine for the Blackburn Hawks, and it's available for free. Head over to the Hawks website, or the W's blackburnhawks.com, or check out our socials to get yourselves a copy. I'll also put the link in the description. The first issue was a great read, and this one, honestly, is even better. Finally, there is still some merchandise available to purchase at Sunday's game. Hats, scarves, pucks, and much more, all for those last-minute Christmas gifts. So, without further ado, let's get into this episode's interviews. First of all, we're going to be chatting to Ollie Lomax.
Hawks Talk.
Our first guest on this episode of the Hawks Talk podcast. We have current head coach and former defenseman for the Blackburn Hawks, Ollie Lomax. How are you doing?
Interim head coach, Graham. But yeah, I'm all right, mate. Are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I know you're busy right now, so thank you for taking the time to come on the podcast.
Not a problem, mate. Glad to be here.
So you've been on the bench all season and now you're in the role of interim head coach. How are you finding that experience so far?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying working with the lads every Thursday. So we only get to practice for 90 minutes. So I like to put the lads through the paces for an hour and a half, get a good sweat on. And I think a good practice on a Thursday sets the tone for the weekend. So Thursday's a very important night for me. But with the role of the interim head coach now, I didn't actually realise the day-to-day business that it involves. Like I've played for numerous people in the past, but I have a hell of a lot more respect for him now because it's a 5 nights a week job. I just have Monday nights off where my little one plays football, but other than that, it's hockey most nights.
Well, honestly, I think you're doing a great job. Now let's move on. As you know, this show is to celebrate Aaron reaching the mark of all-time point scorer for the Hawks. I know it's around 16 years ago, I think, but what was your first impression of Aaron when you started playing together?
To be honest, I thought he's this guy. So Dave Clancy, our netminder coach, he just signed for the Hawks think it was back in 2004 once the Phoenix had folded. So Clancy was in between the pipes for us, and I was just a young lad coming through, and he brought this lad with him who he'd been playing with at Phoenix, and then it turned out to be Aaron. And funnily enough, on the first training session, he actually broke Clancy's collarbone with a slap shot.
Nice. Is there any memories over the years that really stick out for you when you've played with Aaron?
Well, we've been privileged to play in some big games, both me and Aaron, over the years, especially that period of three or 4 to 5 years when we actually won some trophies and stuff. And there was some times, obviously we had a really good team, but there was times in some tight games that were nip and tuck, and some semi-finals that could have gone either way. And if we ever needed a goal, it was always number 8 that turned up and got that goal and got the team going and just took control of the game for us. And he's still doing that now.
I was just going to say, what kind of person is he in the locker room? I know you've played with him, but you've also got the experience now of coaching him a little bit as well.
Yeah, so he's a dependable guy. He's a dependable character. So if you go into a battle, you're always going to have number 8 there with you. Like I said, he'll put his body on the line. He'll stand in front of that net. He'll take cross checks in his back. He'll stand in front of slap shots to try and tip him. He'll ruffle a few feathers. He'll do whatever it takes to get the win. And me and him have got quite a good bond because we played together over the years. And to see him hit this milestone, it fills me with a lot of pride. To be honest, I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, he plays the tough minutes, doesn't he? And he always finishes his checks, which is something that I've always liked about him. And like you say, he's not afraid to get in front of the net and screen the goalie at times, which is, I can imagine, it's not a nice position to be in.
Well, funnily enough, he gets a lot of stick because he says he's obviously he's now the record point scorer, but he must have took about 10,000 shots to get there. So we all take the mickey out of him sometimes when he winds up for his clap bomb, and we all go, Aaron, no! And then half at time it ends up in the top corner, the other half at times it ends up on the bar roof. But he's a great guy, he's Aaron.
But we all know he's a bit of a character. Can you tell us some of the funny stories from in the locker room and on away days and things like that?
Well, one of the funniest stories is obviously I spend quite a bit of time away from the rink with Aaron now, especially as like we've both got our own families and stuff. So one year when Tim and RJ was with us, I think it was the second year, 2016. Aaron's a big, I think it's Philadelphia Eagles. I hope it is. He's a big NFL fan. So the NFL was on down at Wembley. So he actually hired a car because he doesn't drink all that much. So we had a free weekend. So he come and picked all the boys up from our house. And I think we were fresh out from the night before. So we're still a bit rough. So we was drinking all day on the way down to Wembley, and he was driving, and then we was drinking all the way through the game. And fair play to him, he was driving home, and I remember he got this rollover hot dog from a service station, and bless him, he bites into this hot dog and snapped his front tooth. So his front tooth was hanging out, and then so we all fell asleep because obviously we've been on the sauce all day, and then we get back to my house and he had his phone on through sat nav. He opened the door and his phone drops out straight through the road, the grate in the road. So then we run into my house, get a hockey stick out, and midnight in Blackburn we're trying to fish an iPhone out of the gutter.
That's brilliant. I think I've seen a picture of that on your Facebook actually, yeah.
Oh, it's worth a share every year. It's brilliant. But yeah, he's a great guy, Aaron. And one thing that he has done over the years, and he still does now, whenever we sign a new guy or we bring someone new into the club, he's always the first person to welcome into the dressing room, get him a new stall, get him set up, take him out for food. Like he's a great team guy, and he loves the club, and it's great what he's achieved.
That's fantastic. I didn't know he did that with new players and stuff. I suppose having the experience he's got, it makes it easier to pass that on to other people, and he knows what it's like coming into a dressing room as a new guy, albeit like 17 years ago, but still.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people do look up to him, like around the league and that. And I think a lot of people are really pleased with what he's done, because when Blackburn turn up, well, obviously I'm not there anymore in a playing capacity, but I think other teams around the league and players who've been around a long time and coaches, I think they were really chuffed for him because they know the hard yards that he's put in. Like there's been talked over the years. Obviously, when you go to away games, you only travel with 2 lines, but I can never recall Aaron missing a game for anything other than an injury, to be honest. So it's brilliant what he's achieved.
Do you know what? I agree with that. I can't remember him not being there. I've been to Whitley away with 2 lines, and he was there. I can't think of a game he's missed like that. Looking back at it.
Yeah, even the likes of the Northern League when we had Dundee away on a Sunday night and Fife away on Sunday nights on the minibuses and that, he was always there every week, me and him. So that's why we have such a good friendship to this day.
Just one more question before we speak to Aaron and Tom. I've seen some teasing posts for the Blackburn Hawks annual golf day for next year, which is something you and Aaron are heavily involved in. Tell us a little bit about that day and what we can expect to happen next year.
Yeah, so the golf day is one to circle in your calendar, especially after the first 2 events that we've put on with the pandemic and stuff. This is the first year where we've actually not going to have to rearrange the date, and it came along really because when I decided to hang the skates up, obviously I still spend a lot of time with Aaron away from the rink, and the golf course is one of the places where obviously we hang out and stuff. And we said, what a nice way of just like keeping everyone involved, like sponsors and old players and fans, and just have a good day. Like in the middle of the summer, we spend half the year in the rink in freezing cold temperatures, and then once we spoke to Eddie Brigdale whilst he was still with us, it was an honour for us to let us hold the day in his wife's name and then Eddie's name, and it's brilliant that the Brigdale family get to come along with us every year and share that moment, and long will their memory live in that day. And it's just a fantastic day, and you see the pictures that get put on the social media every year. Everyone's got a beer in their hand, a smile on their face, with a Hawks polo shirt on, and what other way to let your hair down than out on the golf course just talking hockey, really.
Brilliant stuff. We'll get you back on the podcast after Christmas to talk about it some more. Thanks again for taking the time to talk to us. I know you're very busy at the minute, and we'll have you back on the show soon.
All right, thanks, Jake.
Hawks Talk.
On the Hawks Talk podcast, we are joined by all-time Blackburn Hawks point scorer. Some might say he resembles the late Freddie Mercury, but we know him as Aaron Davies. How are you?
Oh, I knew you were going to drop that in. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no worries, mate. If you could see the action that I just pulled down for that comment, mate, you know. Oh.
And we're also joined by Hawks forward Tom Revesz. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on.
No bother.
So let's get straight into it and talk about the most recent game, 12-5 loss away at the Solihull Barons. How was that game for you, Aaron?
Exciting, different. It's all a learning curve at the moment with everything that's been going on over the few weeks and months. So for me, I think we've got to take the positives, not the negatives from that game. You know, so, we went out and tried and stick to our new game plan, and our game plan did work at times. It's just unfortunate at times, you know, little mishaps and slips and stuff like that cost us a few goals. But we were at times, you know, the first period let us down. I think we were like 6-2. And then after that, you know, the second and third period, we were competing. You know, I think it was the second period was like 2-2 or 2-1 to us or something. You know, that's a positive. So we just need to get that a little bit out of the way first, or that moment of like lackadaisiness where, you know, we're letting goals in, and then, you know, things will happen right for us. I can guarantee that.
Now, Tom, it was your first game back on Sunday, wasn't it, after having an injury? How was that game for you?
Yeah, I've missed it. It's been pretty hard being away. I felt like I was getting into my game and whatnot, and then obviously I got injured. But Sunday, it was nice to get back out there, and, you know, we had a couple of bodies missing as well, so I was like thrown straight back into it. Thought I played all right considering I'd been working away, so I couldn't train beforehand either. I did all right. I got an assist. I think from the team perspective, I think we competed probably for 50 of the 60 minutes. We just had probably 3 really poor refereeing decisions when it comes to offsides for the goals in the first period. And I think that kind of got to us a bit. And like Aaron was saying about us kind of switching off at moments when them things happen, I think that's kind of when our heads go down for a little bit. And then, we pulled a couple of goals back, and then, the rest of the game we competed like throughout really. And it's just like Aaron said, we're just building, and there's definitely the ability there. We just need to focus on 60 minutes week in, week out, rather than like 50 minutes, and not having them 5-10 minute spells where we can potentially throw a game away like we did on Sunday.
Yeah, hockey, the sport, it's that fast that literally it takes less than a second to score a goal. And sometimes score lines like 12-5 don't represent the game correctly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, like not all the time, and certain things, at any point in that game, I think we, if things would have gone our way, like bounces and hits and just lucky things like that, that game at 6-2 could have been easily turned around and gone the other way, to like a 10-6 game to us or something. So it's happened before where we've come from that sort of scoreline from behind and won a game. So, the talent is there in everybody. So you just got to bear with us.
So we'll go back to the recent home games then, starting off with the home loss in the Cup to Sheffield, 9-6. What were your thoughts on that one, Aaron?
We battled through. Sheffield are a good outlet. They've got some great talent there, and they've got some older boys that are actually older than me, believe it or not. You got the likes of Warren Tate, who's, he's been around a few years. He's been at Telford, Nottingham, and through the years, he's also played, Great Britain at the highest level. And, they've got the other lads that are, cemented their place in like Steel Dogs and teams like that. And, they've stepped down this year, and, they've really, really strengthened that team. So to compete the way we did against them, I thought, it was just unlucky at the end, just that one goal, that, because I think at 8-6, we were still in it, and Ollie was looking to pull the goalie. And, that's the sort of game where you look at and think, you know what, we're actually, we're getting there, but we're getting there slowly. And when that 9th goal went in, it was deflating, because every player on that ice had battled hard right up until the end. And it's just, again, just a misfortune, that we conceded a goal that I think, thinking about it, it's a goal that we can actually, we should really get back, and it shouldn't have been scored, but it did. And we just, tried to crack on until the final buzzer.
They seem to be a bit of a bogey team for us, don't they, this season, Sheffield?
Yeah, we've played them enough times, haven't we? Pre-season, cup, or whatever. It's just, we're constantly just seems to be playing the same sort of teams at the moment. It'd be nice to play a different team. But like I said, they've got a team that have been together for a few years, but they've also got talent in there that, they got the young Ruskin Hughes that they got from Solihull. He's a great, great young talent that's going to come up, and, if he stays in this league or moves up a league, he's going to do good. So, they've got the talent there, and they've got the basics. They've even got the old timer Steve Duncombe there. It's a team that they've built around youth, but they've also got the experience. And, I think we're going in the same sort of path as them.
Yeah, like a very well-balanced lineup.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to the most recent home game, the thrilling one against the Nottingham Lions, and with you, Aaron, getting the winner in overtime in that game.
I'm gonna jump in here, because I know Revesz was going to jump in. It was a complete fluke, to be honest with you. No way if I ever scored a wraparound goal. It was just, I made a mistake from the face-off by taking the shot. Pete, I think, won the puck back to me. I took a shot, missed it completely, missed the goal, pot went in the corner. So my first instinct was to try to make up for my mistake. I went in and hit the lad in the corner, got the puck. And as I stepped around the goal, I just tried to put it on the keeper. I didn't try to score a goal. I just literally wanted the puck on the goalie. And my luck at the moment, it went in.
So as you know, Aaron, this episode is to celebrate your recent achievement. So let's go back to the very beginning now. What was it that got you into ice hockey?
Well, my dad, my brother, just my family have always been around ice hockey. I've been around ice hockey since I was probably about 3 years old. And it's either that or figure skating. And to be honest with you, I can't see myself in a pair of sequins. So I just grew up around hockey, and I was very fortunate to have some great coaches when I was a kid. John Baxter and my dad, Jim Knight, Doug Stewart. I've had so many amazing coaches that unfortunately are not with me anymore, but they took the time out, and that to me shows the love, because I had people that cared and wanted me to do so well in my hockey.
Yeah.
And just through the years, it's just been the same. It's just been the same thing. And I know I'm going to move forward a bit here, but with Ollie coming into now, the passion that he has is rubbing off onto the lads, and that's what is great. And that's what I had as a kid. I had all this passion from all these coaches. So the love for the sport has just grown and grown and grown and grown.
Where was it that you played your junior hockey?
Have you got? You said we only had half an hour, mate. You've got enough time. So I played at Stevenage. I played at Milton Keynes. I've played at Peterborough. I've also played at times for Oxford, Bracknell, Basingstoke. So yeah, I've played a bit at junior level at different places, but I kind of cemented my places at Milton Keynes and with Jim Knight, and then at Peterborough with Tim Peacock and Kevin King as my coaches. And I think that's where I kind of found the love for the sport, was at Peterborough. I think because we were winning everything, and we had the likes of David Clark from Nottingham. He was a junior at Peterborough, so I grew up with him. James Morgan. I had some amazing players around me as a junior to look up to, and then try and aspire to be like. So I guess at Peterborough, when we were winning everything and achieving so much, and personal achievements as well at the same time, like playing for GB and everything else like that, it's just, I think I'm a Peterborough lad at heart with everything I've achieved with the club.
Have you always played as a forward?
No, I was actually a defenseman. And then when I was playing at Peterborough, Kev King kindly said, go up front on the power play and just stand in front of the net and then work the corners. And then I went away with GB16s, and I got Kev King again was the coach with me, and he was like, go and stand in front of that net and nobody moves you. And then I moved up to Flintshire to play for the Freeze, and also guessed a few times with the Storm through the years. And Mark Stokes was like, you know what, you got a bit of speed, you're not shy to go in the corners, I'm going to put you up front. And then from then onwards, it's just been forward, forward, forward.
Now, before coming to the Hawks, you mentioned it there, you played for Flintshire Freeze, Manchester Phoenix, and a number of other teams. But what was it that brought you to come and play for Blackburn?
Dave Clancy, believe it or not. This is going to be really funny. I had retired at 21 and decided I didn't want to play. I know, yeah. Who would have thought me and retirement in the same sentence? So I quit hockey. I hadn't played for about 4 months. I hadn't been anywhere near a rink. I was happy. I was just getting on with life and stuff like that. And then Dave Clancy turned up at my house with my kit bag and said, actually, I won't repeat what he said, but in the terms of get in the car, you're coming with me. And he kind of kidnapped me and took me to Blackburn, where I met Bobby Haig. And Bob was like, yeah, come on, like, see what you're made of. And I was like, well, I've not been on the ice for so long. And within a training session, Bob's like, do you fancy signing? And at first I said no. I was like, no, I'm happy enough being away from the rink and enjoying life in a way. And he was like, so left it at that. And then Dave Clancy turned up the week later at my doorstep, same time, with my kit bag, which he got from my garage, which I think he might have broken in to get, but trust me, yeah. And went to the rink again, trained, and Bob asked, and I was like, yeah, I want to sign, I want to play. Just a small issue, I've always worn number 8, and can you make it happen? And Bob's like, yeah, if that's all you want to come and play for me, I'll make that happen. So yeah, so from then onwards, it's just been 17 years, 18 years, I don't know. I just not look back really.
Ollie told us a story about you nailing Dave Clancy with a slap shot and breaking.
First training session, properly signed as a Hawk. I broke his collarbone. Get it down the blue line. I had to drive home that day as well. in the famous car that is Hattie. That I don't know how it passed its MOT, but to wind the window down, you had to slide it with your hand, and then to wind the window back up, you had to hold it in place for about 5 seconds, and then it should stick. So I stepped over the blue line on a drill, and then just took a shot, and it went high, and carried on travelling. And next minute, I heard some expletives from Clancy, and I broke his collarbone.
That's brilliant.
Great start.
Now, Tom, you've played at various clubs as well, like the Altrincham Aces, Widnes Wild, just to name a few. But how did you end up in a Hawks jersey?
Really, Jared Dickinson and Corey Lee come over, and Joe Greaves, and they're like good friends of mine, and kind of knew Aaron through battling against him over the years. And just kind of come down to training, and like James Neal asked me if I wanted to sign, so it all kind of fell into place. And obviously, I was at a point when I was playing at Alty where I just wanted to play with my mates, really. So it just seemed like a logical thing. And then since I got to Blackburn, I've kind of got the fire again, like to compete and get back in the game properly. So it's been probably the best thing I've done in hockey, really, come to Blackburn, with the fans and the setup now with Graham and Carl. It's probably, couldn't have worked out any better, really, for me.
Can you tell us your first memory of playing against Aaron before you signed with us?
Well, my old coach, Nipper, he obviously used to love Aaron. Well, it was like a love-hate relationship. He loved watching him play, but he hated it when he played against us because he always used to score. So he always used to get in my ear because, like, when I was like 18, so some 10, 11 years ago, I was like kind of line forward, just used to get on here and there, and he just used to send me out to pick on people, really. So he used to send me out to like have a word with Aaron or whoever it might be, and then we ended up having a bit of a tilt in front of the one of the nets at Blackburn, didn't we, Aaron?
We did, but then straight away after the game, though, this is the weirdest thing. We literally right by the bar, and we were like, "You're right, mate. I was life. Yeah." We literally just like nothing had happened in that game, and it's just grown ever since, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially since I've joined the Hawks. Like me and Aaron's definitely like my best mate from the Blackburn lads that I've met, and we've like proper hit it off, haven't we, mate?
We have proper bromance.
What was Aaron like to play against, and how does it compare to now playing with him?
I'd definitely prefer playing with him. He's just always aware of his ability, and if he's anywhere near the net and you give him space, he's going to score 9 times out of 10. He's got a great shot, So playing against him was difficult because you can't really man mark in hockey, so to speak, like you can in football or whatever. So he's always going to get them chances in a game. Whereas obviously now it's great. We don't play that much together on a line. I think we've had a couple of shifts this year together in one of the games. I think it might have been Solway, and we linked up well, and it was nice to play with somebody that's got that experience because you can see what he's trying to do, and he reads the game dead well. So it makes a massive difference having him playing with you rather than against you, definitely.
Now, during lockdown, obviously the rinks were closed. You two decided to do some workouts together, didn't you?
Well, sort of. It started off, I was getting annoyed with watching Tev and his posts about him running. And I thought at the time, my daughter was born during lockdown, so everything was happening. So I was like constantly like with Maggie and like being awake at night and eating. And I literally put on loads of weight. And I was watching Tev with his little posts on Facebook with his Strava about his running. And I thought, do you know what? I can beat him. And you know what? I'm going to push myself and push myself and push myself. So that's where it actually started from. So Jen put the weight on carrying the baby. And then when Maggie was born, I kindly put it on looking after her. So it was just, I had to push myself. If I wanted to carry on playing hockey and achieve this, the record at the time, I had to get myself fit. And what better than, one of your best mates pushing you and rubbing it in your face that he's better than you.
What's your funniest memory of Aaron so far, Tom?
My funniest memory? Jesus.
Don't forget, there are kids watching this, by the way. Listening to this.
I don't know about funniest. I've just got a lot of really good, like, happy, like, funny memories just in general. Like, I know, like, before one of the Nottingham games in my first season, like, me and Corey went to Hooters and we ended up stitching Corey up and telling him it was his birthday and getting a picture with one of the Hooters girls, you know, stuff like that. But he's just always up.
You were like a cat caught in headlights.
Yeah, he was dead right. I've got that picture, dig it out and put it on Facebook. Maybe put it as a screensaver for this podcast or something. But no, just like we just have a good time, don't we? All the time. It's it's not necessarily funny daft moments, but we just get on dead well. And like Aaron helped me as much as I helped him with a running side. Do you know what I mean? I might have started it off, but then when I seen him going, I was like, right, I've got to go out tomorrow now, and to get like, I think that first year I was about 16 and a half stone, and now I'm like 13 stone 8. And I know, Aaron, you've dropped about 2 stone, haven't you, from that season? And you can, I think for Aaron, you can definitely tell like he's got over the line with a record. And for me as well, like, I just feel like a different player out there. I feel like I've got more energy and I'm doing more for the team. And I've always been the guy to go in the corner and hit people, but now I can like get there quicker than I used to and probably more effective. So it's definitely been a good thing.
No, I know this myself because I've known you for a while now, Aaron, and I know how much you wanted to achieve it. But tell us about the feeling when you finally knew that you'd hit the mark and become the all-time point scorer.
Yeah, it was, well, it's different because when I drew the record, I had like Jen and Maggie in the crowd, and Mark and Sue, and I had my family in the crowd, and I had the boys there and everything like that, and that was just surreal because at the end of the game, I just took Maggie out in the middle of the ice, and I just had a little moment with her, and we were just like jumping about and just just thinking, because it was one of my dad's like life goals to see me achieve something like quite good in for a team, and I achieved that, and unfortunately he wasn't here. But the week of the record, I did it on the so it was against Whitley Bay where I drew it. It was my father's birthday on the Thursday, and then we played Whitley again on the weekend. And my dad's last game he ever saw me play was against Whitley, and I scored the winner, I think, with about 3 seconds to go of the game with a slap shot. And Jen's got a video, and you can hear her and my dad screaming. And so to go away to Whitley, I know Jen really, really wanted to come, and she was like, but Maggie wasn't feeling too well, so she couldn't come with us. And she was like, she posted like, you can't do it because I'm not there. You can't do it. It's not fair. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try, I'm going to try and win the game for the boys. But at the same time, if it happens, it happens.
Try not to score a point.
Just try not to score a point, make it a third assist, or don't, tell the referee that I didn't get the assist. That's not normally like me anyway, but, I I like to chip in with a few. And then to do it against Whitley at Whitley, it was quite weird, and just, it was, I don't know, it was just like a massive, like, sigh of relief at the end that I set out to achieve something. And at first it wasn't the record, it was just to try and play as long as I could and achieve as much as I could. And then, like last season, I had the chance to re-sign and look at this record, and Bobby Haig's like an absolute goat. He's a legend, and to be in the same sort of sentence and mentioned in the same sort of sentence as him, Steve Maurier, you got all these greats that Blackburn have had, and and are going to have, and I've written my name in the history books for now about for breaking the record. And it's still not really sunk in, because we've still got a season to play. So I think at the end of the year, when finally settle down and take it all in, I think then it'll actually sink in a bit more than it has now.
Some fantastic memories there for you to treasure, especially with your family and stuff as well. So that's really nice, and lovely to hear stories about your dad as well, because I know how much, we've talked a little bit about it in the past. We've both lost our dads and stuff, so I know how much it means to you.
Yeah, like, he literally would follow my career. I remember going away with England under 14s to Quebec for the championships, and he was working out in Michigan, in Detroit, and he flew out to come and see us. Got mugged at the airport, lost all his money, and but he still made it to the games. He's used to drive all the way up from Cambridge to come and watch me play hockey. And, you know what I mean? Even right up until, right up until he was bedridden, my stepmom would bring him up, and she would basically, she can't watch hockey because every time she watches, I lose. So she used to just literally just wait. Yeah. She used to drop Dad off and go and do something. And my dad would watch the game. So it's amazing that he got to see certain things in my career and achieve. And like I said, the last things he wanted for me to do was, to have a great family, which I do. I've got an amazing daughter who is getting to watch me play hockey now, which is fantastic because, when COVID hit and stuff like that, that was one thing that was putting me off coming back to play, really, was my daughter's not going to be able to see me play hockey. And like, she's getting to see me play. But it's just, I'm gutted that, my dad didn't see my record, but I know he's looking down and he's thinking,
Definitely.
Do you know what? You actually did it. You achieved it. So now crack on, get the season over and done with, and, move up the table and concentrate on the hockey. You've done what you set out to do. Now it's time to think about the actual game, which is, trying to move the Hawks up the table to, and finish as high as we can at the end of the season.
What other memories stand out for you in your career with the Hawks?
It's weird because, like, the ones that stand out are the ones that are not normally on the ice. It's like with Tev, like, we battled so hard when we used to play each other, and now, like, we're closest to mates. I've got one of the bestest friends in Ollie, and it's weird now seeing him behind the bench and coaching us because, 1 minute, we'll be having a laugh and a joke, and the next minute it's, game heads on and you've got to listen, and I'm sure he enjoys telling me what to do now. Where before, we used to communicate and have a laugh and a giggle. Now he's telling me what to do. So it's just, like, just the people I've met through it, like Jared, Owen, and, the Brittles, which I've known for most of my hockey career. And just seeing the players come in and leave and come in and, cement themselves. Like with the new D-side lot, I grew up with half of these. Back in the day, bad that, isn't it? Many years ago, I watched some of these lads, grow up and play, hockey, and I got a chance to coach some of them, and now I'm getting to play alongside them, and it's those sort of things. It's, winning the championships was great, fantastic. Like the first one, or whichever one it was, when I broke my thumb and I had a pin and a plate put in my thumb, I have so many different memories and what people have of those sort of weekends, like me and Stewie Ashton playing NHL till like 3 o'clock in the morning, taking the stitches out of my thumb just so I could play, the next day. So it's just like stupid things like that, really, that are cemented in my head as memories. And then the best one is, I guess, having Maggie turn up to my game in my shirt. You know what I mean? That's the biggest memory that I'll always carry, and I'll always, think of when I ever think of hockey, is seeing, her walking around with the number 8 with Daddy on the back. That's the biggest memory and the biggest thing I could ever.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So is the next target you're going to go for all-time assists? Because when I was doing some research for the podcast, I think you're about 50 assists off that, I think.
Oh, I think I've done my bit. I'll leave them to Tev.
Having played for the Hawks for, I think it's about 17 years now, you've played with a lot of players over that time. If you had to pick a starting line from any of the players you've played with, who would you pick? So obviously you're out on the wing. You've got to pick 1 netminder, 2 D-men and 2 other forwards. Who would you pick?
Oh, you really put us in a predicament here. Goalie. Oh, would it be Clancy or would it be Brill? Brill. I'm sorry, Dave. I know you saved my career and got me in at Blackburn, but I think it'll have to be Dangy in goal, just because that kid was phenomenal in goal. You've seen himself, some of the saves that he used to pull off for us, and it was day in, day out. It wasn't one game he was strong, next game, Dangy should have done this. It was a constant, just a constant with him. In defence, we've had some solid D in the past. We've had like Dusan Kubik, who the quietest lad, but as soon as he was out on the ice, he was, hard as nails. But Ollie Lomax and Chris Arnone, I think the two Blackburn lads, really, just because they put their heart and soul when they're out on the ice, and they actually, they play for that jersey. So I guess them two. Centre, I don't know, because you got like Peter, you've got Jared Dickinson, you've got so many decent, amazing centres that I played along with. But I guess Bobby Haig.
I was going to say Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, just because some of the stuff, like, he never used to defend. He used to stay on the blue line or that do all the hard work. No wonder he got so many goals, but it's just his eye for the goal was just phenomenal. And just getting a chance to play alongside him as well. And like the banter they used to give, it's, I think him, and on the other wing, I don't know. I can't. I played. It sounds weird, isn't it? But I played with that many players now at Blackburn, and you see so many players come and go. Like when you're thinking about a wing, you're thinking like Luke Brittle, Adam Brittle. You've got Pete
Budsy.
Yeah. Oh, disgusting human being, that man. But what a player. Some stories, but I know there's kids listening and stuff like that, so I can't really tell them. But you got Budsy. You've got even back in the day, you've got the likes of Neil Howarth. Well, he's a defenseman, but he used to play up. Who else you've got? Oh, it's just everyone just rolls into one because you play Adam Fuller. Used to, try and get over that blue line. He was one of the best players to get that puck over the blue line that I've ever seen, just because of his determination. So I don't actually know. That's like a tricky one on the other wing. Can I just play on the penalty kill? I'll just play on.
No. You've got to give us one. Give us another forward.
Go on, you throw some names at me and I can see. Let me just think, because I can't.
Meikle Dunford.
Oh, Sam Dunford, 100%. Yeah, Ginge.
He's definitely one of my favourite players over the years.
He is one of the best, if not one of my top 5 best players I've ever played with in my life, just because he is so calm. He's so relaxed on the puck. Some of the stuff that how he plays is just out of this world, because he looks effortless doing it, and he probably is. And his whole vision for everything is just, back in the day, it was like me, him, and his future brother-in-law, Viney. And the three of us used to hook up like constantly. We knew how each other played, but that was down to Sam. Sam just used to dictate what used to go on, and we used to just back him up. So yeah, I think Dunford, 100%. Yeah, got that, James.
Yeah, he was great on the forecheck, and I was a bit sad that he signed for Altrincham this year, not for the Hawks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I think he had some loyalty still there with the Aces, and Sam's like that type of lad that, he agreed to play for us in the COVID Cup. I think he had already agreed to go back to Alty, and like I said, he's just a great human being. So I know that he's gonna, stick to his word. He already agreed things, and that sort of lad, he's just going to stick to his word.
So I asked you to narrow it down to a line there. I'm going to ask you to narrow it down even further. Who's your all-time favourite player that you've played with at the Hawks?
Either Bobby or Ollie, because
that's the two I've wrote down in front of me.
Yeah, it's either them two. But then you look at the lads that I played with for like half a season, like Matthew Southall, and like some of the players that through the history that I played with, so many different players, and each brings so much different to the game. Tev, one of the best players to go into a corner with, because you're either coming out with the puck, or the player that's got the puck is going to have somebody trying to nail him. So you've got players like that. So I guess it's either Ollie or Bobby. Bob maybe for the records, but then you look at all the lads that used to just throw himself in front of a puck and break bones, and he cared more about the shirt and the name on the front than he did on the back, and he still does. The same with Bobby. That's hard on that.
Shall we go for Bobby Lomax?
Yeah, we'll go for Bobby Lomax. Oh wow, what a love child that would be. Yeah, Bobby Lomax.
Now, we've spoken a lot about this over the years. We're both massive fans of the Mighty Ducks films, and if you could be If you could be any character from the Ducks films, who would you be and why?
Ask Revesz that first.
Go on, Tev.
Probably the Goldberg, the keeper, because he's got the same eating habits as me. Man after my own heart.
That makes two of us.
Or what's the kid called that can't stop on his skates? That's probably more.
Luis Mendoza.
Yeah, that's more like me, I think, isn't it? Especially going into that corner at Billingham the other week.
No stopping you, is there? I don't know. Charlie Conway, just because the passion that he brought to the Ducks, I think, and then willing to do what it took to get the win. You know, in Ducks 2, where he gave up his jersey for what's he called? The young lad off the street.
Russ
with
Tyler.
The knuckle pop.
Russ Tyler.
Yeah. He gives his shirt up for him, and that, and I think I carry the same sort of passion for the team as what he does. So yeah, I think simple. I'm not as good as Banks, so I ain't no Banks. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Conway.
Favorite film of the three?
Well, the series was terrible, so I'm not gonna say that. And the cartoon, did you watch the cartoon? That is fantastic. See, there's so much spin-offs from it. But 2, I think. Yeah, 2.
Okay. What about you, Tev?
I like the third one the best, I think. That's the college one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's my favourite, definitely.
Where he gets the goalie to eat as much as she could.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
He gets that thing. He gets his 2-minute penalty, and he strips off in penalty box. Then he throws his.
Dean Portman, yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
With the Back Brothers.
I don't know if you know this, but the netminder from the third film is actually Gunnar Stoll from the second film. It's the same actor.
I didn't know.
See, I knew that.
Bit of trivia.
I could talk about the Ducks all day, but my missus had just told me to shut up.
Oh, well, you've seen that goalie mask that I've got of the Ducks. Like that's a limited edition thing. I like when I think you had posted something, hadn't you, about the series, and I was like, I love the Duck, blah blah blah, and I sent you the picture of the goalie mask that I have. That's how much I'm addicted to the Ducks.
I got gifted by one of the record labels I'm signed to. They sent me a signed Ducks jersey. I'll send you both a picture of it. It's signed by some of the actors.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, are you going to get some expletives sent back? You do know that, don't you? Well, jealous.
Is there any other hockey movies that you'd recommend?
Yeah, Youngblood.
Yeah, great film.
Mystery Alaska for me.
That's a good
what?
film.
No, there's nothing better than Tea with Miss McGill. If you know the movie, then you know it.
Do you guys get to watch much hockey as well, like any NHL? Is there any teams that you follow or any other leagues around the world?
Go on, Tev.
I wouldn't say I watch the NHL like game in, game out, but I follow the Hurricanes in NHL just because I've got a friend out there. So I've been to quite a few NHL games to watch them. So I watch the highlights every week and stuff. But to be honest with you, I just like playing the game. Do you know what I mean? Like it don't bore me watching it either. Do you know what I mean? But it's just it's like, well, one, it's on at 2:00 in the morning, so can't be getting up for it. It's easy to watch a 5-minute clip in the morning, isn't it? But I think you definitely. I think you can see the difference in the levels, can't you? Like just in every which way when you watch. Bit like if you play football and you watch the Premier League every week, they're just unbelievable, aren't they? Just the way they can shoot and move and all sorts of stuff. It's an eye opener, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's a full-time job, isn't it? Watching NHL to try and keep massively up with it.
Yeah, but it's a proper legit sport out there, though, isn't it? The way it's like the media and everything like that it's huge. Like people don't get to see that over here. Like I know Graham and Carl are trying to bring that with the Hawks, with the whole cheerleaders and everything like that. But it's just another world out there when you're actually there watching it. Like I watch the Winter Classics. And I watch the odd highlights here and there, but I don't actually watch hockey. Sad that, isn't
it? You play it enough, though, don't you, Aaron?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really watch it. I'd rather, I don't know, being a Spurs fan, I guess.
You don't watch much of that, do you?
No, exactly. I got no hope, really, have I, when I think about it?
That's bad enough.
My golf, I could talk about golf. I'm terrible at golf. I just play because it's a great crack. Cricket's the same thing for Bury Cricket Club. I just see ball and just hope it goes over the line. You know, nobody catches it or anything. So same with hockey. Because I guess I'm around it that much with playing it. Maybe I should, when I retire or whatever, just watch it. But you know, I like watching the Lightning. I've got to admit, if I catch the highlights, I follow them on like Instagram and stuff, and I like watching a few of their highlights. But watching a full game, I'd get bored. I think I get bored. Like even watching a Winter Classic.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, like watching a Winter Classic. And then you start coaching and you think you know it all. And then you think, well, these guys are in the NHL. You don't know anything, mate. Like, these guys are in the NHL for a reason. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, sat there telling everyone you'd scored that one if you were there.
Yeah, exactly. But then you realise, well, I'm not there.
I'd have been in front of the net there. I'd have been tipping that one in.
Yeah.
Well, I would have been in front of the net. I wouldn't say about tipping. I would have just chopped at the keeper once he saved it.
So just to round things off, what are your expectations for the remainder of the season? Have you got any other goals and targets that you want to reach?
Go on, Aaron.
I think just settling down now. We've got Ollie as our interim coach, and the goal for me this year was personal, but now it's more to do with the boys. You know, we've got a team there that I can see us, you know, starting competing. Like, we've had a rough few months. Like, Mike came in and did a fantastic job. You can't take that away from Mike. You know, he's a great coach, great guy. And it just didn't work out, unfortunately. And like I said so many times, like, people come and go. And Ollie's stepped up to the plate. You know, there's a lot to ask for him. So my goals, and just I want to finish the season strong. Like after Christmas now, we've got to like crack on, push on, stick to our game plans, listen to what Ollie has to say, because he knows his stuff. He's played and he knows what it takes to be a Hawk. I know it sounds a bit strange saying that, but it takes a certain person to put that jersey on week in, week out. You know, you got to have the passion and the pride, and, you know, the boys we got in that dressing room are carrying it like tons and tons of it. And it's starting to show, like, players are getting so passionate and annoyed. You know, we brought in Carl Bacon. You know, he's not, and I know he's going to back me up on this, you know, he's not the greatest of hockey players, but his passion is phenomenal. Like, no matter what happens on that ice, he'll turn to Ollie and say, do you want me to go and beat him up? Do you want me to go and have a word? Do you want me to go and do this? Do you know what I mean? We have day jobs. We have to get off on, you know, on a Monday morning. And you've got a guy like this who's willing to put his, you know, his body, his face on the line. And just, I just think now we've got that dressing room. You know, we've got the players in there, you know, that have come in, like James Parsons. We've got Novi. And then we've got likes of Jared. So we've got the base now. We just need to, after, you know, we've got these few games before Christmas, do the best we can. After Christmas, we regroup and we just go again. And we just, like, I want to finish top 4. And I think with the team we've got and with the players that we've got and the passion that we've got, I can see us achieving that. So that's my goal for this year now, is get us in the top 4 and push on from there.
What about you, Tev?
Yeah, I think pretty much agree with everything Aaron said. I mean, starts on Saturday away at Solway. I mean, we took them to 3 seconds away from overtime, didn't we, at home, the first time we played them this year. I think if we put in another performance like that, which we're clearly capable of, then, you know, we can, you know, we get 2 points there. We're moving straight back up the table. I think we've got the change rooms, one of the best changing rooms I've been in from, like, 14 years of playing hockey now or something. You know, there's just like a bit of a vibe in the room. You know, all the boys get on. Like Aaron was saying, everyone's got that passion and they'll stick up for each other, and, you know, they'll do what it takes. You know, just like, as I said earlier, just need to cut them 5-minute little sloppy plays out, and, you know, when we'll get there, I think, like, top 4's got to be the aim on it. I think we can definitely do it. We just need to keep our heads screwed on, and we'll get there. And personally, for me, like, I'm just, you know, like I say, got an assist on Sunday. I'd rather not get an assist and win the game. So for me, like, I'm never going to break Blackburn's top points record or anything like that. So for me, as long as I'm going out doing my job, and I'm not really bothered from a personal perspective of as long as I'm doing that. So let's just get our heads down and get in the top 4, really.
I think my personal thing for the end of the season is to wake up on a Monday morning and not feel old. I think that's my personal goal. I'm just sat here now and I'm just like, oh, my back is aching and I'm not doing anything.
Too many goalie checks to the back.
Yeah, and defenseman checks. But the thing is, like, the amount of times I get checked in the referee, I'm like, half the time I look at him, do you need glasses? The amount of times I get checked in the back is just ridiculous. Oh, but yeah, I think that's my personal goal, to wake up on a Monday and not feel old.
Right, that's us all out of time. Congratulations to you again, Aaron, on becoming the all-time point scorer.
Thank you.
And thank you to you and Tom for coming on the show. We'll definitely have you both on in a future episode, and I'll see you both soon.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
See you, pal.
Hawks Talk.
Great to speak to Aaron, Ollie and Tom on this episode. Congratulations again to Aaron on your achievement from all of us here at Hawks Talk. Now, you may have seen them around the rink or on social media, the Blackburn Hawks cheerleaders. They're recruiting for new members, and if you are age 16 and over and want to get involved, just send an email to cheerleading@blackburnhawks.com. I mentioned this earlier on the podcast. At this weekend's home game on Sunday, the 5th of December, we're asking for food donations for the Blackburn Food Bank. All of the details for that are on our socials. It's for a great cause, so please get involved with that one. And finally, don't forget to get yourselves a copy of the Hawks Mag. The second edition of it is out for free now on our website, all the W's, blackburnhawks.com, and I'll put a link in the description as well. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Hawks Talk podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on whichever platform you're listening to us on. We want to get you, the Hawks fans, involved as much as possible. So if you have any guests you'd like us to have on or any questions you want us to ask, just send us an email, hawkstalk@blackburnhawks.com. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Hawks Talk.